Stuff. Thank you, Jordan. Yes, so we're going to make it short for you today, a 30-minute session from NetBrain and Prianto, focusing on MSPs and how we can benefit MSPs for your customers. So we're going to be talking about how we apply automation and AI for complex network operations. A quick agenda, just to get the flow for the call today. So first we do some introductions of who we are. Prianto will then talk about their core pillars and how they obviously provide value and how we work together. Then into who NetBrain are, if you've not heard about us before, and how we work as the leading no-code network automation platform for hybrid networks. Then we'll take a look into some of the key challenges in the network operations, focusing on that and how, again, you can take that to your customers, will benefit you. And then we'll jump into that in a bit more depth, looking at a live demonstration for 10 minutes or so, finishing with some Q&A at the end. So get your questions ready. Please put them into the chat, or we'll open it up around that time. And then just some follow-up actions, and we should be done on the half an hour. Okay, so into the introductions quickly. As you can see myself there in the middle, Mark West. I'm the channel sales manager for NetBrain UK, so leading the channel in this region, working with our partners and our MSPs, and growing this area with hopefully people like yourself. So that's my role, and then I'll leave Dave to introduce himself on the right.
So thanks, Mark. So I'm Dave Spence, Senior Pre-Sales Engineer at NetBrain. So I'll be taking you through a demo. I've been at NetBrain now for a number of years, and I look after the channel partners.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dave. And then Jordan, over to yourself. If you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'll jump onto the Prianto piece for you as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. Jordan Travers. I'm the Managing Director here at Prianto in the UK. Been working in distribution myself for coming up to 15 years now. And I will, if Mark, you want to flick to the next slides, I'll give you a brief overview of Prianto. So as you can see, we've got the map there on the right-hand side, which gives you an idea of the territories that Prianto have a physical presence in. And we also operate in a much larger territory than what you can see there from an office sales strategy. So our key focus and our supportive specializations are focused around security, storage, virtualization, cloud and software management. Prianto is a company that was founded in 2009, with the UK being the second location to open in 2011. As a group, we are approximately 170 employees globally. As a distributor, Prianto only sells to channel partners, so IT resellers, MSPs, SIs, GSIs. We don't deal with end customers directly, and we will only ever engage with end users through our partners and working with them to support on opportunities. Our UK office is based in Newbury in Berkshire, so just outside London, in the, as we call the UK Silicon Valley area of the Thames Valley. And Prianto are proud to be able to say that we're the sole distributor of NetBrain here in the UK. Next slide, please, Mark. So Prianto positions themselves with 4 core pillars to support the channel community. Modern workspace, hybrid cloud and data center, cybersecurity, AI, and data analytics. So all of our portfolio of vendors will fit into these 4 columns. However, some vendors like NetBrain will cross over into 2 of those or 3 of them in some instances. What does that offer to our partners? Well, Prianto, we are a technical-led sales organization, so we know our solutions through and through. We ultimately become an extension of the vendor, but we're also then an extension of our partner community, and we're seen as a strategic advisor due to the knowledge that we hold on our vendors and the support that we can offer partners to expand on opportunities where disruptive and innovative technologies are really changing the way that the channel can make higher margin on opportunities, but also these are a solution that they're not just wants, they're needs as well. So I'll hand over back to Mark, and again, thank you for joining the webinar today, and over to you.
Thank you, Jordan. Okay, so just a piece now about introducing NetBrain to you all on the call. It's interesting actually that we're a company that we talk about leading the no-code network automation platform for hybrid networks. So it is a platform that you can work from and obviously provide to your customers. But we've actually, although we pioneered the no-code intent-based network automation, we've been around for 20 years now. So last year was our 20th anniversary. So in that time, it's pretty much one of those companies which is led by, founded by, a technologist, someone who was sort of really focused on building technology. So it hasn't been shouted out very loudly in terms of who we are and what we do. So hopefully the call today will help you understand that. So we're just looking at some of the customers we have in the middle there, some large names across all industries, particularly for our audience today. You can see the likes of AT&T there on the right-hand side, talking about with NetBrain, preventative automation in place now. Customer outages aren't happening. They can really take control of that with their customers. So we have a big presence with AT&T as a managed service provider over in the US. But within our region here, you'll see the BT logo there. So BT is one of our largest customers in this region. They have over 300,000 sort of devices covered on our platform. It's a lot of customers there. They manage that, and they manage that from a managed service providing. And we do have a case study, which I'd like to sort of pass on to you all after this. But they talk about a 75% decline in their mean time to repair with their customers. So it really shows you the value they've been able to provide to their customers as they manage them using the NetBrain technology. So we're going to dig into sort of 4 key areas here and how we transform these key challenges in network operations, something that your teams will sort of face every day when they're dealing with your customers' networks and how to manage those, and particularly around 2 areas, the reactive workflow and the proactive workflow, and how we can transform that with automation and AI. First, the troubleshooting piece. So it's all about reducing the human touch, being able to make that easier for you as an MSP, your customers. Finding a quicker way to reduce that mean time to repair, that MTTR, and reduce escalations within the business. And then if you're looking to make a change, how do you actually sort of manage that? How do you reduce the human error side of that? And then throughout the change, how do you analyze the impact of those changes? And we'll dig into that on a slide just after this. On the right-hand side, looking at the assessment and observability. There's some key areas when you're managing many customers, being able to run these assessments and have, be able to observe across their networks. And also on the back of that, then how do you enforce and prevent drift from what you've set up with those customers? How do you, make sure you don't steer away from that on the network piece? And that comes with the visibility. So reducing the knowledge silos needed and reducing the manual efforts from your teams for your customers, and also providing a higher satisfaction at that time. So looking into the troubleshooting, we like to look upon, sort of talk about shifting left, and that comes to asking some questions. So when you're talking to a customer, for example, when you're sort of qualifying them, getting an understanding, how many tickets are they raising in a week? What engineers are having to deal with these problems, and then the mean time to repair, how quick is that happening for your customers? With auto diagnosis, by using our automation AI, the shift left that we talk of is where a level 2 engineer, the work that they were doing, you can shift that down to a level 1 engineer with the NetBrain platform, and then the level 1 work can then be pushed into the automation and AI across the platform. So really shifting that workload along. And what we found with our customers is that around 40% of these tickets, this troubleshooting, can be closed just because they're noisy tickets. So using the large libraries we have on the system, that can also close the noisy tickets up to 40%, obviously reducing the workload there. And then around 30% of those can be auto-remediated because they're known problems that we would have fixed before, that again the automation can deal with. And then the last 30% there, the AI assisted diagnosis, something we can dig into maybe further down the line, but that takes care of the next 30%. So overall, it's really about reducing that human touch, reducing the escalations and the MTTR. Then we look into the defense and safe change. So again, asking the questions, how many changes are your customers needing each month? What's the success rate? And how many outages are related to those changes you're making? So we like to look upon this with our triple defense. First, how we can look upon things before the change, analyzing, discovering the rules that are in place, and then during any changes you're making, again, having full visibility and analyzing through that and deploying these changes. And the third piece of the triple defense, that's around after change. So being able to, once you put the changes in place, stick to those changes and the config that you put in place, making sure that there's no future drift outside of that golden network that you've put in place. So all around deploying safe changes and preventing those outages. Moving on to the observability and order remediation for prevention. So this is about the assessment piece. Having that instant real-time access from the platform into your customers. Asking them the question of how many assessments are they asking you actually to run a year, or do you want to provide to your customers that you're looking after? What's the network coverage? Do you have that kind of visibility? Can you see at any one point, and how much time is spent on these areas? So we provide that continuous assessment, the dashboard for observability, and then giving you the ability to have a proactive remediation. And that's sticking down to these key areas that we see at the bottom here, driving prevention across security, across critical applications, the config drift, which I mentioned before, auto testing, and then of course compliance, being able to tick that box there with your customers that you can help them be compliant. Visibility and documentation. So how much time are your team spending, building these manual documentations, having to sort of build maps across the networks of your customers and getting a true understanding of that. So what we will do for you with the platforms, you can use NetBrain to build up a digital twin using those 4 key areas you see there. And that allows us, firstly, to be able to build dynamic maps, provide a single pane of glass, and of course, a single source of truth, something really important to a lot of your customers out there, that you can dig into that for them. So again, on-demand mapping, one-click documentation, accurate inventory, and creating that pathway from A to B with the map there. You can see something which Dave will take us into as we take a deeper dive into the actual platform itself. But first, just some of the key areas here that NetBrain will provide you as an MSP. Firstly, obviously keeping your customers happy. If you can reduce that MTTR, you're onto a winner there. You're showing sort of that you're a great partner to be working with for that customer. And then from your point of view, how can you build and grow your business? How can you service more customers with the same team? And using the automation and the AI piece from NetBrain, that gives you that key sort of option there to stick with the same team, but service more customers and bring more customers on board. Using the platform, you can also obtain competitive advantage against other providers out there who aren't using the platform, giving you that unique selling point. But then it's really about improving the quality of the service that you're providing. You can give that increased data accuracy across the whole platform, reduce their risk in any changes, and generally provide a better service for customers. So I feel with that, let's take a jump into the demo now. Dave's going to sort of go over those areas in a bit more detail and how we can really provide value to the MSPs from NetBrain. Dave, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Let me share my screen.
NetBrain's designed for service providers. So you can see here, this is our demo environment. And actually, I don't usually get to show this side. This is the system admin side, so they're very much the back end, under the bonnet. And you can see here we have multiple tenants. So again, there's different ones. I just created one. I'm Dave. So I created one for me. I nearly called it David tenant, but then that sounds like Doctor Who. So I thought I'd leave it at that. But this is my tenant here, which I've created. And what you can then do, each tenant is separate. It's like a separate network or a separate customer. So then for your individual user accounts, when you go in here and you create user accounts, you can say, well, actually, if I've got an account for me, Dave Spence, whatever, I can say, well, actually, I can access all of the tenants, because I'm the administrator. But then you can actually say for my individual users, well, they can access individual tenants. So they can say, actually, access the video tenant or particular. So it just means you can have that granularity individually, and also you can have role-based access within the customers. What this really means is that you as the service provider can see everything, but the individual customers can only see their own networks, and that's really helpful. And they can't see anybody else's. So I wanted to show you that. So that's pretty important. Now, the other thing from a service provider, and again, we've got customers running these type of network assessments on behalf of customers. So this is the other side to it. So actually, a lot of the time, customers don't exactly understand what's out there. And if you're doing a network assessment, if you come into a customer and think, well, actually, what's on their network? How do you know what's on there? So actually, rather than just scanning a list of subnets, you can put a number of C routers. I just put one in here while Mark was chatting. And NetBrain very quickly, within a couple of minutes, it discovered a few dozen devices. So you can discover, so for networks of even thousands of devices, you can discover those devices within about an hour or so. So NetBrain's discovery process is very good, and it's designed to be able to discover networks. We just need to select the relevant C routers, and that can then lead you on to a number of useful functions. So, for example, over here you've got the inventory. So you can actually then say, well, actually, what do I have in my network? What is there? Yeah, and actually you can filter this. You can say, well, actually, what I really want to know is how many, I don't know, let's pick something. Let's pick Palo Alto Panoramas. Okay, we don't have any one of them. We do have a Palo Alto firewall. So what Palo Alto firewalls, for example? Yeah. And the other thing, the other side to that as well is they can then use that to actually document and create documentation for a customer's network. So this is quite a nice example where it's showing how if you've got a multi-vendor network, so you might have Cisco, even if you are, or say, customers all Cisco, yeah, they've probably got some next generation firewalls in there. So if I zoom in, and this is a dynamic map, so as I zoom in, I get more information. So you can see here, I've got a checkpoint firewall, some checkpoint firewalls in here. I've got a Fortinet firewall, and I've got my classic Cisco ASA, so I could have some FTDs, whatever. Yeah, but I support all of that. But I also support a lot of more modern technologies as well, such as Cisco ACI, or that could be NSX. Yeah, could be Azure, Google Cloud. So I support all of that. And if I've got a customer and I've got this quite heterogeneous network, being able to manage that and have visibility of lots of different types of technologies is really important. And it's difficult to do without something like NetBrain. And just to show you, before I move on to the next page, is NetBrain it's more than just documentation. So if this map is alive, yeah, this is a gateway to my network. So let's say I was interested in this particular router or this particular router. All I need to do is right-click this and say, well, actually, what I want to look at is the routing table. And it will show me the routing table. Oh, that was from the baseline. So NetBrain will periodically recalculate the network. But actually, I don't want to recalculate the network. I want to know what's going on right now. Well, that's okay. I can click this button here and I can see what's going on in the network right now. This is my current routing table. I could then maybe do a comparison. So, well, actually, how is this now? And how does that compare to the routing table, I don't know, a few days ago? And actually, that's really good. So you can quickly see that I had some routes being let by OSPF a few weeks ago, well, a few days ago, and they've gone, they've disappeared. So I can actually see some routing table changes here, yeah, like that. So there's real power there in being able to understand what's going on the customer network. And that, again, that lends itself as well. I'll just quickly show you this. I'm going to skip a tab and come back. I'll come back to this bad boy in a minute. What you can also then do is assess the entire network. So actually, again, there's a need for this often with customers to say, well, actually, what do they have? How are their devices configured? Is there anything bad on their network? Is there anything configured which shouldn't be configured? Are there critical applications working as expected? You can see that very easily on a dashboard. So I can see here for my critical application path, this is for a video application. Yeah, what's going on from the networking devices, their CPU and memory utilization. Yeah, the configuration check is do we have any config for it? Or what about security configuration? So actually, again, if I need to assess a network, the customer says, oh, I don't know which of my devices is security having. I might have BBDU guard on there, but I might not. Oh, I think I've got Telnet enabled, and all of my SNMP community streams might be public. Or whatever. Yeah, with NetBrain, you can very quickly discover that. Discover any bad configurations, anything which does not comply to standards, and you can display that in a dashboard. And then from there, you can actually share that. Yeah, so that can be shared, and other users can then consume that. And again, you can see here firewall assessments. Yeah, do I have any unused firewall rules? What about the this space on my firewalls? If I've got fault-tolerant devices, yeah, has there been a failover? Is my active router what it should be? Critical devices, what about memory usage? Yeah, and CPU usage. And then down here, look, routing health. So again, that's always important. If I've got things like BGP or OSPF, Are there any changes in those neighbor relationships? Do I have anything stuck inactive, or as a BDS will become a change state to something else? You've got a DS. You've got all of those different types of checks that you can perform with NetBrain, and then just display it on a dashboard, so it's easy consumption. And finally, this is all about sort of the state of the network. What if I've got a customer and I look after their network, and I need to be able to troubleshoot their network very quickly? So you can see here, and again, I did this whilst Mark, right at the end actually, while Mark was chatting. As you can see here, look at the timestamp. Yeah, 2:15 this afternoon. So literally just a few minutes ago, I mapped a path. So if you were troubleshooting an issue, you'd normally without NetBrain be doing pings and trace routes and things like that. But NetBrain can really help you, because NetBrain can do an ATD path, and it can do things like this, which is very cool, very powerful. It can show you how are those individual devices forwarding that traffic, how are they handling that traffic, are there ACLs blocking the traffic? Yeah, and if there are, which ones, which ACLs are handling that? And I could change this. I could make this a TCP, but this is live. This is the path taken live from the network, how things are right now. Alternatively, I could say, well, actually, that's great. I can see that, and I could actually, if I clicked here, I could get the layer 2 hops, which is actually really, really nice. Yeah, I've got a little L2 switch there, which you wouldn't get with a trace router, okay? But I can also say, well, actually, what was the path like, or what should the path be? This is what the path is right now, but what should it be? What is the golden path? So you can go in here and you can say, look, golden path, draw that path, please. And NetBrain will draw what the path actually should be. So the green path is what the path should, the route the traffic should be taking. Yeah. Whereas the blue path is what it actually is right now. And so we can see there's a difference. Yeah, it's changed. And then you can say, well, that's fine, but I can do some tests. Why might that be the case? So you can go in, you can start troubleshooting. So I can go in here. Let's do some quick troubleshooting here. I could look at those devices. I could pick any one of these, but I can see alerts, look at a number of devices. So I can go in here, I can pick one of these key routers. So this is here. Yeah, this is a device which I should be routing through here, but I'm not. Yeah, and I can look here and very quickly tell if there are any issues here. And I can quickly see, and this is actually very good, I can quickly see here that red is bad, green is good, red is bad. And if I just pop this out, look, you can see here this interface has been shut down, which shouldn't be. This is what the configuration should be, but this is what it actually is right now. And again, I chatted some of this. I checked this in the past, and I can quickly look here, and I can see and I can put a note up there so I can show somebody what the actual problem is. So just like that, I was able to troubleshoot it without logging into devices and doing SSH. NetBrain enables you to troubleshoot much more quickly and drive down MTTF. Thanks for listening. I'll pass you back to Mark.
Great stuff, Dave. I think we've got a few minutes left, so I'm going to put it out now for some questions. If anyone has any questions out there, please.
There's one in the Q&A at the moment, Mark. And this one's probably for yourself, Dave. What rules does NetBrain follow to establish the golden path?
Yeah, so for this, what you do is I'll show you. What you do here is you put in, let's just show you this. So if you go here and you show let's just type application manager. So you can see what you do, say a critical application. So this, whatever Maximo is, yeah, it's got multiple paths associated with it. Or you've got a financial management software. You go in here, you'd edit it. And then what you do is you put in the critical parameters for that path, basically the source and destination and the gateway and then protocol information. And then once you've set that up and it's running regularly, once NetBrain's noticed that the path is the same path, so it will run on a scheduled basis. Once it's the same path and it's calculated the same route to the same devices, a set number of times which you configure, NetBrain will automatically assign that's the golden path. Having said that, you can then go into that and say, no, that's not the golden path, it's got it wrong. And you can manually say that because NetBrain is calculating all of the different devices. So it does that dynamically. So you can go in there and you can view the history. In fact, if I show you, let's pick this one where you've got lots here. Yeah, you can see the different paths.
Yeah. We can see a screen there, so no problem. But yeah, understood the answer. So thanks very much for that. Just want to touch on some next steps for everybody. So firstly, thank you everybody for joining today. We'll be recording sharing the recording. But a few steps to keep in mind. First of all, on our NetBrain webpage, you can go to our specific managed service providers page on there for more information. So please drop onto that. So we would love to do as well is if we can schedule some demos, a more in-depth demo with all of you that joined today, and some of your colleagues. So more focused, longer sessions. We can really do a deep dive for you. And then if you have any potential opportunities, please do register them with us as well. But last on the agenda there is around the incentive piece. So we did have a little incentive for today, just for a little bit of fun, and that was based on the attendees that sort of stayed to the end. We're going to pick sort of three of you out of the hat, as it were, and send you a little prize, a little box of beers, to celebrate the end of Dry January. Or if you wish to continue that, we can send you some non-alcoholic beers to enjoy at the end of the month as well. So with that, thank you everybody for joining from NetBrain and Prianto. Thank you once again, and we will look forward to hearing and speaking to you after today. Thank you.